ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Good morning. So today's topic is mole fraction. Mole fraction is represented with the letter X. So what is this mole fraction? How to calculate mole fraction? Let us see. So it is defined as number of moles. It is defined as the ratio of number of moles of a component to that of total moles present in the system. To understand it, let us take a mixture of gas. So we have gas A plus gas B. Let us assume in a system we have mixture of two gases, gas A, gas B. So what information we require to find mole fraction is, for gas A and gas B, first we have to know its weight. WA represents weight of gas A, weight of gas A or mass of gas A. MA, M subscript A, M subscript A is molecular weight of gas A, molecular weight of gas A. Since you know weight and molecular weight, let us find number of moles, Na, number of moles of gas A. How do you find number of moles of gas A? Weight of gas A by its molecular weight. In a similar way, we have to know weight of gas B, molecular weight of gas B, number of moles of gas B. Weight of gas B, molecular weight of gas B, number of moles of gas B. Then let us find number of moles of gas B. This will be given in the numerical, this will be given in the problem, so you have to substitute. So we have only two gases, gas A, gas B. Since I know the number of moles, let us find total number of moles. Total number of moles is equal to number of moles of all gases. There are only two gases, so it is equal to Na plus Nb, Na plus Nb. Now, what is mole fraction? Mole fraction of A, gas A, which is represented as X subscript A or Y subscript A. So in general it is X to the subscript A. It is defined as number of moles of gas A by total number of moles. So fraction of total number of moles, fraction of total number of moles of a component, we call it as its mole fraction. So XA is equal to number of moles of A, N subscript A, total number of moles, Na plus Nb. If I have three gases, then you have to add the number of moles of third gas. If I have four gases, you have to add the number of moles of fourth gas. Total number of moles of all the gas present in the system. Or you can also write like this. What is Na equal to? Weight of gas A by its molecular weight. Similarly, weight of gas A by its molecular weight, weight of gas B by its molecular weight. Similarly, you can find mole fraction of B. Mole fraction of B, that is Xb, is defined as number of moles of gas B to that of total number of moles. It is the ratio of number of moles of gas B by total number of moles of all gases present in the system. Or what I can write, xb equal to number of moles of gas B by total number of moles, that is Na plus Nb. Or you can write one more step, that is equal to weight of gas B by molecular weight of gas B, weight of gas A, molecular weight of gas A, B. Right. So if I take two gases, you will get XA, XB. Three gases, you will get one more, like that. So what is XA plus XB equal to? XA plus XB equal to Na by Na plus Nb plus Nb by Na plus Nb. So if you take LCM and simplify, what we will get? It is equal to 1. Sum of the mole fractions of all the components in this system. How many components we have? Only two components, A and B. Sum of the mole fractions of A and B is equal to 1. That means sum of the mole fractions of all the components present in a system is always equal to 1. Sum of the mole fractions of all the components. Make a note of that point. Sum of the mole fractions of all components in a system must be always equal to 1. So this is how you have to find mole fraction. So once again, what is mole fraction? It is the ratio of number of moles of a component to that of total number of moles of all components present in the system. We are going to use this mole fraction in Dalton's law. So that is why I have explained how to find mole fraction. Now, let us study Dalton's law. Dalton's law of partial pressure. Right. The first important point, applicable for chemically non-reacting gas mixtures. So, whatever we are going to study, it is applicable for chemically non-reacting gaseous mixture. Why we will see that? For the time being, first let us try to understand what is Dalton's law, what it tries to explain. Now, you have a system, let us consider a system where you have different gases, say gas B, C and so on, and they are chemically non-reacting. They do not react with each other under these experimental conditions. They are chemically non-reacting. Then, so the total pressure exerted by this gaseous mixture, let us assume P. P represents the total pressure of the system, the total pressure of all gases present in the system. Let Pa be partial pressure of gas A. The pressure exerted by gas A is Pa, represented as Pa. The pressure exerted by B is Pb and so on. So what Dalton says is the total pressure of chemically non-reacting gaseous mixture is equal to sum of the partial pressure of each gas. Sum of the partial pressure of each gas. The total pressure of chemically non-reacting gaseous mixture is equal to sum of the partial pressure of each individual gas. Right. So let us proceed. So I am taking two gases. I am taking a system where you have only two gases. So let us consider a container of volume V at temperature T having Na moles of gas A, Nb moles of gas B, A, B are chemically non-reacting. I am applying the condition chemically non-reacting. So what we are doing here is we are considering a system. Let us consider this as the system where we have gas A and gas B. Number of moles of gas A Na, number of moles of gas B Nb. Both are chemically non-reacting. They do not react with each other. Let us assume the temperature as T, volume of the container as V. The temperature as T and volume of the container as V. The total pressure as P. The total pressure of the system is P. Partial pressure of gas A, Pa. Partial pressure of gas B, Pb. T is temperature of the system, where the temperature of the system, V is volume of the container, P is total pressure of the gaseous mixture, Pa is partial pressure of gas A, Pb represents partial pressure of gas B. What I am doing is I am applying ideal gas equation. What is ideal gas equation? PV equal to nRT. PV equal to nRT. The pressure of gas A is because of Na moles present in V liter container at temperature T. So what is the partial pressure of A? The partial pressure of gas A, Pa, is equal to number of moles of gas A into RT by V. Remember, for gas A, gas B, T and V will be same because they are present in the same system. So T and V value will be same. So Pa is proportional to Na. Partial pressure of A equal to number of moles of A RT by V. Similarly, partial pressure of B, partial pressure of gas B is equal to what? Substituting in this equation, number of moles of gas B RT by V. So I will call this as equation 1, equation 2. Now, according to Dalton's law, total pressure is equal to sum of the partial pressure of A and B, chemically non-reacting A and B. So let us call this as equation 3. So from 1, 2 and 3, what I can write? The total pressure of the system is equal to Na RT by V plus Nb RT by V, which is equal to Na plus Nb into RT by V. What is Na plus Nb? Number of moles of A plus number of moles of B. Here in this system we are considering only A and B. Therefore, Na plus Nb is nothing but N total number of moles, total number of moles, gas moles into RT by V. So let us call this as equation 4. So what I can write here is, I will take the ratio of 1 by 4. So what we get is, I can cancel RT by V. So left over is Na by N total. Number of moles of gas A by total number of moles. So what is this? This is nothing but mole fraction of A, XA. So cross multiplying, what we get is PA equal to XA into P. So inverse, what is PA? Partial pressure of a gas is equal to product of mole fraction of the gas into total pressure of the system. Similarly, you can write for B, partial pressure of B equal to mole fraction of B into total pressure. So once again, P represents total pressure of the system, PB represents partial pressure of gas A, PB represents partial pressure of gas B, Na number of moles of gas A, NB number of moles of gas B, V volume of the container, T temperature at which the system is maintained. Coming to XA represents mole fraction of gas A, XB represents mole fraction of gas B. So this is about Dalton's law statement. The total pressure of chemically non-reacting gaseous mixture is equal to sum of the partial pressures of each gas. And the other statement, second statement is the partial pressure of a gas is equal to the product of mole fraction of the gas, of that gas, into total pressure of the system. Right. So let us come back to this point. Dalton's law is applicable only for chemically non-reacting gaseous mixture. Now come back to this. Why it is applicable only for chemically non-reacting? So when you mix the gases, if they don't react, that means the number of moles will remain same. So what happens? The partial pressure here only depends upon number of moles, because anyway T and V are constant. If they react, the number of moles will keep on changing for instant to instant because of the chemical reaction. So when two gases react, because of the conversion, for example, if I take H2 and Cl2, suppose if I take 10 moles, if I take 5 moles. So initially we are taking 15 moles, 10 moles of H2, 5 moles of Cl2. But if you assume that they remains as such when you mix them, then you will get wrong answer. The pressure will be incorrect. What is the reason? Because they will react in 1:1 ratio. So 5 moles will react with 5 moles to form 10 moles of HCl. There will be 5 plus 0 moles. So what happens here is, if they chemically react, the number of moles of gases will change. Therefore, you cannot apply. Now, what we can do? We can apply Dalton's law if there is an equilibrium of if the reaction is completed. After the completion of the reaction, you can apply, because at equilibrium or after the completion of the reaction, mostly the number of moles will not change. If number of moles will not change, then you will get you can easily calculate the partial pressure. So that is why this law is not applicable for chemically non-reacting gaseous mixture, applicable only for chemically non-reacting gaseous mixture, not applicable if they chemically react. If they chemically react, due to the reaction, number of moles will not remain constant. Therefore, you cannot find the partial pressures of gases and total pressure of the system, which keeps on changing because of chemical reaction. So Dalton's law is not applicable for these mixtures. You can say H2 and Cl2 because they will react even under normal conditions. Ammonia, HCl, they readily react, acid and base. Even you can write ammonia, HBr, CO and Cl2 readily reacts. Right. NOO2. So it is not applicable for these mixtures because they will react readily. But if they react, number of moles will not remain constant. Graham's law of diffusion of gases. Gases spontaneously intermix with each other. This property we call it as diffusion. If I take a cylinder, open the nozzle, the gas will come out from high pressure to low pressure. This when the gas comes out from high pressure to low pressure or from a nozzle of the cylinder, we call it as effusion. Right. So the gas that is coming out, it spontaneously intermix with atmospheric air, which we call it as diffusion, the spontaneous intermixing of gases. So effusion followed by diffusion. So Graham's law of diffusion. Right. So even if you open the nozzle of the tube, either it is a cycle tube, right, the air will come out. Because it is present at high pressure, the air that is present outside is at low pressure. Because of this pressure difference, the air will come out, which we call it as effusion followed by diffusion. So the rate of diffusion, the speed at which the gas comes out, right, is found to depend upon its density. Right, but what are the variables that are kept constant? That is important. At constant temperature and pressure, the rate of diffusion of a gas is found to be inversely proportional to square root of its density. Once again, at constant temperature and pressure, R represents rate of diffusion. The rate of diffusion of a gas is found to be inversely proportional to square root of its density. R is rate of diffusion of gas. D is density of gas. For two gases, say gas 1, gas 2, we have two gases. We can measure its rate of diffusion R1, its density D1, R2, D2. Then what I can write is R1 by R2 equal to square root of D2 by D1. For gases, vapor density. What is vapor density of a gas? Vapor density of gas is ratio of density of gas to that of density of hydrogen. Here hydrogen is taken as a reference gas. So it is a relative density. So density of gas by density of hydrogen. If you want to find vapor density of any gas, then it is a ratio of density of the gas to that of density of hydrogen. That is why we call it as relative density. So vapor density of a gas is directly proportional to its density. So instead of D, I can write it as VD, vapor density. Vapor density of gas 2 by vapor density of gas 1. Once again, vapor density, it is a relative density, ratio of density of gas to that of density of hydrogen, or you can write like this: vapor density equal to density of gas to that of density of hydrogen. Right. Since it is ratio of densities, therefore we call it as a relative density or vapor density. So hydrogen is common for all the gas, it is taken as reference. Next, for gas, molecular weight of gas is equal to 2 into its vapor density, or vapor density of a gas is proportional to molecular weight of gas. So we use the same relation here, R inversely proportional to molecular weight of gas. Molecular weight of the gas. So for two gases, R1 by R2 equal to square root of M2 by M1. What is the meaning of that? Suppose I have two cylinders. In one cylinder I have nitrogen, in another cylinder I have oxygen. Same amount, let us assume, same pressure, same volume, everything is same. Pressure, temperature, volume, PTV, everything is same. The difference is in their molecular weight. Even the number of moles, let us take same. The molecular weight of hydrogen is 2. The molecular weight of oxygen is 32. So if I open the nozzle of both the cylinders, right, thus their rate of diffusion will be same. The answer is no, because rate is inversely proportional to square root of molecular weight. So higher the molecular weight, slower will be the rate of diffusion. So which gas has higher molecular weight? 32. Right, this is 2. So oxygen has higher molecular weight, therefore its rate of diffusion will be less. That means heavier gases diffuses slowly compared to lighter gases. That is the point we have to make a note. Heavier gases means the one which has high mass. If they have high mass, the density will be more. So heavier gases diffuses slowly compared to lighter gases, the one which have less molecular weight. So the diffusion of oxygen is less than, the rate of diffusion of oxygen will be less than that of hydrogen under similar conditions. So in general, what is rate? Rate is defined as change in any physical quantity, change in any physical quantity by change in time, change in time. If you measure change in any physical quantity with respect to time, we call it as rate. What is a physical quantity which you can measure directly? What you can measure directly? I can measure mass directly, I can measure distance directly, I can measure volume directly, I can measure pressure directly, I can measure quantity, amount, number of moles of gas directly. All these are physical quantities. If you measure change in any of these physical quantity with respect to time, we call it as rate. For example, speed or velocity. What is velocity or speed? Distance travelled by time taken. Distance is a physical quantity which I can measure. So distance travelled by time taken is nothing but velocity. So velocity is nothing but rate. So here rate of diffusion means the same thing, the speed at which the gas diffuses, or the speed at which the gas diffuses in given time. So in what way I can express rate of diffusion? That depends upon what physical quantity you are measuring. For example, I can measure the change in the volume of gas diffused. I have a cylinder, I have opened the nozzle, right, 10 liter volume of cylinder, open the nozzle for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the gas is slowly coming out. After 5 minutes I close the nozzle, then some volume of the gas will be present. The difference in the volume will give the volume of gas diffused. So rate of diffusion can be defined like this. volume of gas diffused. So the physical quantity I am measuring is volume. Volume of gas diffused by time taken, or simply V by T. V by T. So for two gases, R1 by R2 equal to V1 by T1. R1 rate of diffusion of gas 1, R2 rate of diffusion of gas 2. V1 volume of gas 1 diffused, T1 time taken for diffusion of gas 1. V2 volume of gas 2 diffused, T2 time taken for diffusion of gas 2. You can apply some condition T1 equal to T2 or V1 equal to 2, V2 or R1 equal to R2, like that. Now since we know that volume is proportional to number of moles, you can also write like this: number of moles of gas diffused by time taken. Number of moles of gas diffused by time taken. Pressure and volume are related, right? You can measure the pressure of gas in the cylinder. When I open the nozzle, initially the pressure will be more because gas is more. When I open the nozzle, gas will diffuse. As the gas diffuses, the pressure of gas in the cylinder decreases, right? So rate of diffusion can also be defined like this: decrease in the pressure of gas in the cylinder to that of time taken. Decrease in the pressure of gas in the cylinder to that of time taken. So all these are the different ways. The most common question which they ask is using this relation R1 by R2, or you can write like this: so they take a narrow tube like this. We introduce different gases which react from opposite ends. For example, usually ammonia here and HCl from this side. Let us assume the length of the tube as 1 meter or 100 centimeters, whatever it may be, that will be given. Imagine they will meet at this point. Ammonia comes from here, HCl comes from here. So ammonia is traveling this distance, let us call x meters. Then HCl has to travel this distance, 1 minus x meters. So at this point you will get ammonium chloride, white dense fumes appears. At what distance they will meet? That is the question. So distance travelled by ammonia by time taken, distance travelled by HCl by time taken. So since they are introduced at the same time, the time taken will be same. So you can also define like this: distance travelled by the gas by time taken. So here rate of diffusion of ammonia by rate of diffusion of HCl equal to distance travelled by ammonia. So since both are introduced at the same time, distance travelled by ammonia is x meters. By time taken, both are introduced at the same time, so time will be cancelled by distance travelled by HCl, that is 1 minus x, Tt will be cancelled. Now x we have to find, we do not know anything else, so we take the use of this relation, that is molecular weight. Molecular weight of HCl by molecular weight of ammonia. Right. So substituting the values and simplifying. So what is the molecular weight of ammonia? 36.5, and this is 17 equal to x by 1 minus x. So distance x represents what? The distance which ammonia has to travel, the distance which the ammonia has to travel. So at what point they meet? X meters from ammonia end or 1 minus x meters from HCl end. That is how you have to report the answer. X meters from ammonia end or 1 minus x meters from HCl end. So x represents what? Distance travelled by ammonia. 1 minus x represents distance travelled by HCl. Since both are introduced at the same time, so time taken for ammonia to travel and HCl to reach this point will be same. So all these relations, for all these relation we assumed pressure and temperature are constant. Suppose if pressure is not constant, then what happens? Then rate is proportional to pressure of the gas. For example, let us consider a cylinder which has 10 atmosphere gas. Same cylinder where you have 5 atmosphere pressure, a gas which is at 5 atmosphere pressure. So imagine a situation like this. A gas, same gas, here the pressure is 10 atmosphere, here the pressure is 5 atmosphere. Everything else is same. Let us assume volume, temperature, right, nature of gas, amount of gas, etc. If I open the nozzle, from which cylinder the gas will come out at faster rate? The answer is the one which is present at high pressure. More the pressure difference, more rapidly it comes out. So rate of diffusion of gas is directly proportional to pressure of the gas if pressure is not constant. So here generally they combine with molecular weight. So R is proportional to P by M. For two gases, gas 1, you can write like this, where M is molecular weight. Similarly, if temperature is not constant, then what happens? With increase in temperature, kinetic energy increases. With increase in kinetic energy, rate of diffusion increases. The speed at which they move also increases. So it is found that R is proportional to square root of T. So for two gases, R1 by R2 equal to square root of T1 by M1, T2 by M2. Where T1, T2 are temperature of gas 1, temperature of gas 2, molecular weight of gas 1, molecular weight of gas 2, rate of diffusion of gas 1, rate of diffusion of gas 2. So more the temperature, more will be the rate of diffusion.
ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.